Julia Michaels, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. You and I and JP have spoken during, the ugliness of the quarantine a couple of months back, and we're getting through this, right? We're doing it.
We are getting through it. Yes.
How has quarantine life, I assume you've been just super busy. Have you slowed down at all or sped up during this time?
Yeah, I've been really busy. I've been just working on this album. It's my first album. I've only ever put out EPs. So, yeah, this is the first single for my album. It's like so crazy. I can't believe it. So, just been working on that.
It's, out of all the terrible things 2020's brought, this is one of the silver linings, locking Julia Michaels in a room and just having her write like a crazy woman, man. You mentioned the album, Julia, your first album ever. Talk about it. What can you reveal?
Well, I've got most of the album done. I feel like I'm always trying to push myself to do something different or better, or, I feel like that's the artist plight, just always trying to outdo yourself. So I'm pretty close. It's a lot of this album it's not as self-reflective as Inner Monologue. I feel like Inner Monologue was way more about, my sort of perception of myself, and this is more just about my newly found healthy relationship with love. So I'm trying to just bask in it as much as possible.
Beautiful. I saw you answer, I think it was a fan question, and your answer was you're excited for your new perspective. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. I feel like with my last EPs, I've always had a bit of a bitterness when it comes to love. I've experienced heartbreak more than I've experienced butterflies. So this has been my longest continuation with this feeling of love, and I'm just excited for people to hear that in the music.
Hey, Julia, when are we getting, and I'm going to tell the story, but when are we getting another tattoo together?
I mean, whenever you want. I got one. This is my newest one. I don't know.
Oh, she's showing me a tat. Describe this tat, Julia.
So big. It's this massive butterfly.
Oh, wow. Left arm, bluish butterfly. Dude, yeah. That must have taken 6, 7, 8 hours. Crazy, right?
No, I think it only took 2.5.
Dang.
It was pretty fast. JP and I, we were in Niagara Falls in January this year before everything happened, and we saw this advertisement for this butterfly sanctuary, and we were like, let's just go. And when we went, it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. And then we randomly stumbled upon one again as we were driving somewhere and went to go see it, and it's just become a weird thing that's sort of always been in our relationship. So
does he have a butterfly as well, or no?
No, I got it just because I thought it was very weirdly symbolic. It just happens to be right around the times when I don't know, just beautiful things are happening in our lives.
Amen. Julia called me one day. This is probably 2 years ago. She says, "JoJo, I want to come do the radio show." I'm like, "Cool." So we set it up. Then she called me 2 days later. "Hey, let's get a tattoo on the radio," because I've always invited people, but nobody takes me. Well, a few people take me up on it because I'm crazy, I guess. So we set the tattoo thing up, and you got some text put on your arm that night. What was the text again?
I got protagonist and antagonist.
Which I love the text. It's just amazing. And then, but I'm sitting there, she walks in the night of the tattoo art. He's setting up, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm getting. And so I had a Jack Skellington shirt on, and I think you walked in with a Mickey Mouse shirt, or Mickey Mouse hit you somehow, and you said, "Why not get Jack and Mickey?" So that's what the tattoo. That's how you're responsible for that. That's basically how a collab happens in music, right? Somebody walks in and says, "I felt a quake." The other one walks in and says, what if the world's ending? And then boom. So we kind of collabed in a way, I guess, right?
Absolutely. That's pretty much how it happened with I Like This too. When I was laying in bed with JP, and I turned upside down to kiss him, and he goes, "You're pretty upside down." And I turned and he said, "You're pretty right side up too." And I went to the studio with my friend Michael Pollack and my friend The Monsters, and I was like, this has to be the start of a song. It just has to be.
Yeah, you guys will hear this track. That's the first couple of lyrics in the song, right?
It is. Yeah, it's the first verse.
What's the strangest place, the weirdest place that someone has ever asked you for a selfie? I don't know if I've ever asked you that, but yeah, give me one of those moments if you have one.
I don't know about the strange. I mean, in a museum bathroom, that happened to me once. I was at a museum with my dad. It was like a science museum or something, and I was in the bathroom, and someone was in front of me, and they were like, they turned around like, "Oh, you can go," and then they like came to and realized who I was, and they're like, "Oh my god!" and took a picture of me in the bathroom. The weirdest one for me is always right when I get off of an airplane, because I'm like sweaty, I like my mascara's run, I'm like, I look like, I feel like I smell like BO, and like someone's right there like waiting to take a picture with me, and I'm like, okay.
God. Yeah, I think we need to make a rule, and I've said this I don't know how many times. The airplane thing, I don't know how to put a squash on that, but the bathroom selfies, they gotta stop. I mean, good Lord. All right, Julia Michaels is hanging out. Did you look good in that selfie, or did you look toe up?
I don't remember. I hope I look somewhat decent.
Julia, I think I know the answer to this question, but are you anxious to get back on tour at some point?
I am. I mean, touring has become, it's funny because I used to be so terrified of performing, like terrified, like would hide in places so I wouldn't have to get on
Really?
stage. Oh yeah, like awful anxiety when it comes to performing. But I've built this like just such a beautiful community of fans and people that like I see them posting about this song today, and I'm like, I just wish I could be with them and be excited with them, just like in the moment, present with them. So yes, I'm very much looking forward to tour. I don't know how it's gonna work because this is all new for everybody that's gonna start touring. But we'll see, and I hope we can get out soon because I miss them.
Have you guys had any preliminary talks about a tour, or it just kind of wait
We've
and see?
talked about what we might want the show to be like, because it's going to be very different stylistically from Inner Monologue. We want to start just coming up with sort of aesthetically what it's going to look like, but in terms of like touring, I don't know if we're going to do that soonish.
Gotcha. Well, detail, yeah, to be continued for sure.
Yes,
Julia,
but will for sure.
For sure, no doubt, man. When the floodgates open, man, we're gonna have so many tours. It's gonna be
Oh
the
my
greatest
gosh,
time
I
ever.
know.
Gonna play "Lie Like This" in a little bit. But question: your favorite lyric, because you're such a writer. Your favorite lyric from "Lie Like This"? Is it the lyric that JP, the line he gave you as you guys are on the bed that inspired it, or is it something else?
I think my favorite one is probably in the chorus, which is it says, "Held on to horses, but I'm letting them go."
Say that again.
I think it's held on to horses, but I'm letting them go. I think it's like, it's just a good way of saying, like I've held on to these like waiting, to be loved basically, but I'm just like, I'm letting it go. Like I'm just gonna give in to you and to this.
Wow, that's poetry, Julia. I mean, wow. Talk about this track.
So Lie Like This is basically just about not giving in to fear of being in love, not giving into hesitation of being loved, and just, being present and being in the moment and being in love.
Julia, I'm not sure if I've ever asked you this, but two-part question. The biggest crowd you've ever performed for, and the complete flip of that, have you ever been booed?
Okay, I've never been booed, thank God. The biggest crowd I played for was one of my first performances ever at the Olympics in 2016 with Kygo. I think there were 90,000 people there or something like that, which was
Not to mention the people viewing around the world with that.
Yeah, my manager tried to keep all the statistics from me so I wouldn't be a complete mess.
Hey, is that what you said? You had a bit of like stage fright, early in the career. Was that in the middle of the, oh my God, I don't want to go on stage, period for you?
So when I decided to take the leap to be an artist, I had never really performed much. I learned to sing in the booth. That was my safe space. That was my comfort zone. And basically it all started because Kygo was like, I want you to perform with me at the Olympics, and we were going to do a series of shows beforehand to get me comfortable. We ended up doing only one show beforehand. It was a festival for 40,000 people. I never used in-ears before. It was my first time using in-ears. I was mortified, and then next thing I know, we're at the Olympics performing for 90,000 people. So I basically just jumped into the ocean and just hoped I could swim.
Oh my, your first, 40,000 being the first and the Olympics being the second. Good Lord.
It was no joke.
I asked you earlier your favorite lyric from Lie Like This. What is because you've worked with everybody, you've written so many songs. What is your favorite lyric you have ever written? Ever. What lyric sticks in your head?
Oh my goodness. That is really hard. If it's a song for someone else, probably like every line from Lose You to Love Me. I think that's probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written.
Gotcha.
And then if it's one of mine, probably If the World Was Ending or Falling for Boys. I don't know.
Man,
one of those.
If the World Was Ending. I mean, that song, it was so massive and so beautiful. I mean, just every time I live in LA, of course, every time I feel a quake, that that song comes in my head. I'm like, whatever. Yeah, it's one of them things,
Thank you. Yeah, I literally wrote that the same day I met JP. So it's changed my life in many ways.
Julia, true or false question: when you get a writer's block, is it true that the way you break the block is you just jump in the shower? Is that like a tried and true method that works for you?
Yes. So I've learned when I get kind of flustered and just overwhelmed, I need to just take a break and do something that I love for myself. And normally it's take a bath or take a shower or go for a long drive or something like that, where I can just be by myself, where I can be a little introspective, and then I can write freely.
And that typically, like, you hit a wall, and that something like that typically just boom, light bulb moment, back in the studio, back writing.
Yeah, I write a lot of songs in the bathtub and a lot of songs. I started Hands to Myself in the car.
No kidding.
Yeah, I don't know why or where or how, but I just started singing like, can't keep my hands to myself. And then I like recorded it and I brought it to Matt, Man, and Robin and Justin. And I was like, guys, we should do something like this, like some kind of cool, funky vibe. And then Selena heard it and was like, this is amazing. So like I write songs in like very weird, random places.
You give me goosebumps. Do you recall, not that everyone's going to know this location, but do you recall like what highway, what road you were on, just for my own curiosity?
I don't. I remember I was leaving a studio called Conway, and I had it as an idea as I was leaving the studio.
Got a couple of true or false, some more true or false questions for you. And I know the answer to this first one. True or false, are you addicted to hot Cheetos?
Oh my gosh, too addicted for my own good.
Describe, is it just, are they the greatest, for people who haven't tried, which I'm guessing everyone's tried. They're sent from heaven, are they not?
They're the best. On my 24th birthday, I did my first single, Issues. I did it with this producer, Benny Blanco, and for my birthday he sent me 200 individual bags of hot Cheetos, and then I gave them out as party favors at my birthday, and we ended up having like 25 bags left over. So at one point in my house I had 225 bags of hot Cheetos.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It was awesome. All right,
another true or false question. You always write with the pen and notepad, except when you're in the car, of course. Because if you write on a computer or a laptop, you're going to end up on Facebook and you're going to end up shopping all night. Is that true or false?
I definitely shop for things I don't need at all times, but I actually don't write anything down. I haven't.
Oh, really? So that's completely false.
Yeah, I haven't written anything down in a really long time. I memorize everything that I write so that I don't have to write anything down.
So for example, Lie Like This, there are no lyrics written anywhere.
So I don't scribe them. I usually have someone like Pollock will scribe them, or if I'm writing with Justin Tranter, I'll have Tranter scribe them, or he'll put the phone to my voice so that he can record everything that I'm doing. But for the I mean, I don't write anything down. I don't like to.
This reminds me of when a waiter comes to the table, and they don't write down your order. It makes me nervous they're going to forget something, but I guess it's working out for it. All right, Julia Michaels is hanging out. Julia, you've met, and worked with, I don't know who, God, the list is crazy. Have you ever been starstruck?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Give me something.
It's funny, because I've been doing this for so long, I try to remind myself that we all cry the same and bleed the same, and we've all whatever. So I only ever get starstruck when I hear someone on the microphone, and it happened to me when I worked with Britney Spears the first time. Because like we had worked together and it was like fine. It was like I didn't. And then I heard her on the microphone, and I think I melted into the carpet. I was like, oh my gosh, this is literally my childhood coming to life in front of my eyes. I can't even believe it. And then it happened to me again when I worked with Gwen Stefani. And then we did that whole record together. So,
but okay, back to the first one, the Britney one. She was in the booth, I assume, and you're looking through the glass, and it just hits you as she's like, oh my God, that's Britney, and this is real.
Yeah, it was wild. I literally like just sunk to the floor behind the desk so she couldn't see me freaking out. And I was like, oh my God, my dreams are coming true. I'm peaking.
Final question. What has 2020 taught you?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I don't know if 2020 has taught me anything, but I think in this time I've definitely relearned what love is supposed to be like, and I feel like I have a much healthier relationship with myself, which I never thought would be possible. So
I suppose out of this crazy year, I like that. This year has been nuts. 2020 is so bizarre. To have a couple of silver linings.
Lots of self-reflecting.
Good for you. Julia, let's do a quick recap. Lie Like This. It is out.
Yes.
Get on this track or you're a terrible person. Is that?
You heard it here first.
Album in the works. Do we have a target date on the album yet, or nah, not yet?
Not right now. I don't want to put too much pressure on it. I want to make I want to make it right, and I want to make it good. So.
All right, couple of notes. We need to get a tattoo, JP included. I would love to do that together. I would love at some point, because before the quarantine and all this stuff, you and your pop would do daddy-daughter tequila night. I would love to join and bring my daughter, although she's 12 and maybe tequila's a bad idea. But, maybe, who knows. But I would love to tell your dad hello.
Yep. Sounds great.
What else am I forgetting, Julia? What am I forgetting?
I don't know. I think you got it covered. You're such a pro.
I love you. All right, Julia, at the end of every countdown, fist bump to make it official. Tap that can. I am. Here we go.